everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new then hi, my name is Caitlin. Welcome, and today this is a big one. This is my eyeshadow palette ranking. Now have I been stalling filming this video? Yes. Do I need to film it today? Otherwise it won't go live. Yes. So I have 34 eyeshadow palettes in front of me on my desk. I'm a little overwhelmed. But we've ranked them worst to best. Sorry. Wow. So I should say, just before I start this video, I have recently done an eyeshadow palette declutter. If you didn't see it, I will link it in the cards. But even if these are like lower ranking palettes, they're still in my collection for a reason. I still use them, I still enjoy them. They've not been decluttered. So the worst palette doesn't necessarily mean it's a palette that I hate and never use and want to die. So, disclaimer. But yeah, let's do this. This is going to take a while. But just before we jump into the video, if you have not already, definitely like and subscribe because it would mean the world to me. We recently hit 2K, which is absolutely baffling, but thank you so much. I'm doing Vlogmas. I'm uploading every single day from now until December 31st. And yeah, it's just been really fun. Very stressful, but very fun. And this is, yeah, as I said, this is a video that I have been putting off, but let's do it. Let's do this. Okay, number 34. We all kind of knew this. This is my Baroque palette from Colourpop. I don't know what to say. I've got a runny nose. That's what I'm going to say. But I don't know what to say about this. This is like a fantasy self palette. This is a palette that I would love to reach for more, but I just don't because cool tones, like, I love cool tones. I've fallen in love with cool tones this year, but this cool? Maybe not. I keep it because I've got nothing else like it in my collection. I did declutter a palette that looked very similar to this in my palette declutter, and this is the one I chose to keep, but I don't have colours like this. So I want to keep hold of it, and it's Colourpop. Colourpop does have quite a special place in my heart because it is quite expensive to get here in the UK, but I just can't get rid of it, but I also don't use it. So it's a tricky one. That is why this is at number 34. I'm not going to keep saying the numbers because I know I'm going to get so confused, but the numbers will be on screen. So next is my Lion King Jungle Princess palette. This I got because it was the Lion King. I love the Lion King. Lions are my favourite. I was going to say colour. Lions are my favourite colour. No, lions are my favourite animal. You can't see. But this is Oliver. He was my childhood best friend. So, you know, lions have been with me for a long time. I'll put him back there. You can't see him very well. There you go. But the Lion King has always had such a special place in my heart. I absolutely adore it. So when Revolution came out with a Lion King collection, of course I had to buy some of it. This palette, okay, let's talk about this palette. This is very hit and miss. Like, I don't know what the manufacturers were smoking when they made this palette, but oh my god. Let's start with these two green shimmers and this purple shimmer. Absolute garbage. They are so densely pressed that you can't even get any colour out of it. This blue shimmer, amazing, gorgeous, 10 out of 10. This purple matte, literally air. Like, I've swatched it on my hand. Where? It's literally air. There is no pickup, nothing on it. But the rest of these mattes are so beautiful. Like, this is so unique. It's like a greeny yellow chartreuse. Gorgeous. Like, these mattes, brilliant. So yeah, this is just really, like, it's almost like two different eyeshadow qualities, like eyeshadow palettes in one. It's so strange, but I can't rate it higher because it's just, it confuses me. I don't know. Next we have my Revolution Night and Day palette. I have only got the chance to use this once. That is why it is ranking so low. There's nothing wrong with it. I just can't rank it higher because I don't know how it works. I got this when I was working on a very, very, very similar colour story. So yeah, I probably shouldn't have bought it because I know I wouldn't have been able to give it the love that it deserved. My Pan That palette this year had this shade, this shade, this shade, and this shade in it, so... But what I've used of it, fine. I really can't say much else about it. It's... I don't know. I don't know. Next is the palette that I'm wearing on my eyes today. This is the Natasha Denona Mini Star palette. I do have a topper over the top of the blue shade. I've spoken about this a lot, quite negatively on my channel. So I bought this for the blue. If you've been on my channel before, you will know I love blue eyeshadow. I bought this for the blue and I don't like the blue. It's just... it comes across as too brown for me. It's like one of those brown to blue duochromes, but the blue isn't there. So I have to use a topper with this palette. The topper that I'm wearing today is the Pastel Roses Beetle. Oh my god, beautiful, stunning. With a topper, this palette is beautiful. The mattes are nice. These two shimmers I haven't really played around with, but it's fine. It's just this really lets me down. And I do have a little bit of a vendetta against this, sadly. Next is my Colourpop Making Mauves palette. This is what it looks like. If you've been on my channel, again, you will know I'm not into the pinky, purpley tones. However, I probably should have ranked this a little bit higher. I always say this in ranking videos. One day is never the same as the next. I will always change my mind. I will always want to like swap things around, but I'm trying not to. I've got more into mauvey tones recently. I know. What? Yeah, I have. I don't know. This, if I was ranking this today, I did rank these a few days ago. If I was ranking this today, it would have been a little bit higher. But for the sake of the video, I'm just going to put it here because it's going to be so confusing otherwise. I still don't love mauves. Let me get that straight. I would rather reach for a blue, a cool tone neutral, greens any other day. But I don't know. I've started, I think it's the winter months, this like grungy, dirty, pinky mauve I actually do quite like. So yeah, maybe I should reach for this a little bit more now that I'm in this little headspace. Next is my Colourpop Frozen Elsa palette. Now these are the tones that I'm not too keen on. These are like very dark pinky reds and they're just a little bit too much for me. I did do a beautiful look maybe a week ago. That was in my No Pan Left Behind update. If you haven't seen that, I'll link it above. It was with this palette. It was nice, but it's nice for like once every few months. I don't want to do that look every day. I don't want to do those colours every day. It's just when I'm in the mood for it, I'll do it. So yeah, this blue I do find quite patchy. I did do a look with just this blue and this silver. The blue is a little bit patchy, not the best. But yeah, this glitter is beautiful though. Glitter's beautiful. These shimmers in the corner, beautiful, love that. Okay, next is It's My Pleasure palette, and if it wasn't for this Pretty Cruel shade being in my Pan Those eyeshadows this year, it probably would be ranked a lot lower, but I've actually really enjoyed this shade recently. I don't know what it is, I couldn't tell you. It's really beautiful, especially paired with Mr. Sandman. I don't know, I've just fallen in love with Pretty Cruel. As I said, it was rotated into my Pan Those eyeshadows earlier this year. I used it 20 times. We've got a bit of a dip in it. And I don't know, I really like it. So if it wasn't for that shade, I think this would be ranked a lot lower. But I've just had like a lot of fun this year with this palette. Okay, next is the first big boy. This is the W7 Mardi Gras palette. Let's open this up. Okay, here we go. This is a dupe for the Love Tahiti by Be Perfect. It's gonna wash me out very badly. I'm very sorry. Here we go. I'm getting my colour back. I'm virtual tanning. This is what it looks like. It's just gonna wash me out, so just deal with that for a minute. This palette I don't particularly gravitate towards. These greens and these blues are the reason that it's staying in my collection. I'm just going to pop it down because it's like a beast. Purples and pinks, especially these kind of tones, these are very loud pinks and purples. I don't reach for, I don't like, I don't appreciate them. I don't know, I'm a very grungy person. I'm not a girly girl, so these pinks and like lighter flowery colours aren't really for me. The neutrals are fine, but I have a lot of neutrals. The greens and the blues are really what keep it for me, and it's only 2 rows of them, so I can't really rank it much higher because I'm only using like, what, a fourth of the palette. Okay, next is my main squeeze palette. You can't even see the writing on this. This is what it looks like. Reds, I don't know, I had this in a No Pan Left Behind project and I really loved it. I did some really nice all red looks, but I just don't reach for reds, and I don't know why, because I loved the looks that I made. I did with this, it was more very like basic kind of looks, just like a red in the crease and then like a red shimmer on top with like a big wing liner. It was beautiful, but I just don't reach for it. Even though I know I love these when I'm like forced to use them in a project, I just don't reach for them that much, and I need to because they look really nice. I think they contrast my blue eyes really, really nicely. Yeah, I need to reach for this more. Next is my Soft Glam palette from ABH. I do like this palette, but again, it's very, very neutral. I am a colourful girl, even though I am wearing quite neutral shades today, but I am a colourful girl. I like colourful eyeshadows, and this is nice for when I want a neutral look. But I've been working on my Pan That palette, and that's been a neutral palette all this year. So like, I don't know, I could probably find neutrals in other palettes that are ranked higher. Like, it's fine. It's okay. It's probably going to be used in my kit. Obviously I'll sanitize it and all that, don't worry. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. The only reason it's got 2 pans in it is because it was rolled into my Pan Those Eyeshadows project, and I enjoyed it. It was okay, there's nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing like, oh my god, wow about it, if that makes sense. Next is the Orange You Glad palette. This is in my No Pan Left Behind project this year, and I still haven't reached for it. I still haven't reached for it. This is what it looks like. It's beautiful, it's so pretty, but I just think it's the wrong time of the year. I probably shouldn't have just rolled this in willy-nilly. I should have actually thought about it. But I struggle to wear super bright colours in the winter. I don't know if you've noticed from the makeup that I wear in my videos in the winter, I do tend to kind of calm it down a little bit. I don't do big crazy looks so often. I think it's because it's cold, and you know, I just want to do my makeup quickly and like get out the door. I feel like in summer I have more time to just like chill out, do big fun colourful looks, take my time blending, like really enjoy it. But yeah, I don't do well with the cold, so I'd rather just like boom, done, you know? And especially when they are such bright orange shades. This is not a winter palette, as you can probably tell. So yeah, I haven't used it this year, but I really want to. It's one of those that it's been calling my name and I just haven't been able to reach for it. Next is the Honey palette. I really like this palette. This was in a No Pan Left Behind project earlier this year as well. I really enjoyed it. Like, I wasn't expecting to enjoy it this much, but I really did. Like, who knew? Yellows. This shade, Totally Buggin', is beautiful to blend out more neutral, kind of everyday orangey brown shades. It just gives it a little bit of colour. These shimmers are super crazy pigmented and amazing and beautiful. This shade Sunburst is got like a blue shift to it, so it's beautiful for like an inner corner, just to be a little bit different. I do reach into this a bit for companion shades, just to add a little bit of something. But again, that is more in the summer because it is such a bright, vibrant palette. I do find it quite hard to reach for in the winter. Okay, that's one pile of eyeshadows down. Let's move on. Next, I have my Modern Renaissance palette. We all know this palette. I've been working on this year on and off because I do want to have this as my Pan That palette next year. I've just been dabbling in it this year, trying to get a little bit more progress on it before I really start working on it. I like it. I don't like Venetian Red or Love Letter, these two pinky shades. As I've said before in this video, I don't like pink shades. So yeah, everything apart from these two I really do enjoy. These are probably the neutrals that I would reach for more often. I've actually fallen in love with Bonfresco as well. Going back to those mauvey grey tone shades. Sorry, my nose is running. Oh my god. Yeah, going back to those mauvey kind of tones, I really enjoy them. I don't know, I'm a changed woman. I don't know what's wrong with me. But even these kind of more orangey neutrals, I'm excited to reach for them. This shade is very similar to a shade in my current Pan That palette, which I really enjoy. So I'm excited to reach for this more. Next, we have the Juvia's Place Warrior palette. This is very neutral. It's not warm neutral, but it's not cool neutral. And again, this is gonna take all the light from me. Let's try and hold it like this. This palette, these shimmers are gorgeous. These shimmers have my heart. They are so beautiful and so metallic, so vibrant. I adore them. The mattes are great. I think the reason this is ranking so low, this shimmer, and this shimmer, so the more like true gold shimmers, I don't reach for. I don't reach for true golds. If I'm doing a neutral look, I would rather have like more of a neutral shimmer instead of a super warm tone shimmer. And I think that's what's putting me off this palette a little bit. But otherwise, so gorgeous. I am using them as liners actually, because I got Inglot Duraline recently and I've been having a lot of fun playing with different kind of custom liners. So yeah. Next is my Lion King Circle of Life palette. I got this at the same time as the Jungle Princess. This is just a lot more of a me colour story. Yeah, I'm currently working on the outlines in my Pan Those Eyeshadows project, but I enjoy this palette. I think it's a really good palette. I think it's a lot more consistent than the other one. There isn't really any super dud shades in this, which I'm very thankful for. I love this kind of grey brown, slightly mauve shade. I don't know what's wrong with me. Of course, we have my beloved blues as well. I wouldn't put this as like a really great quality palette. Again, very sentimental, The Lion King. That's probably why it's ranked so high. I wouldn't recommend, if you said to me, what palette should I buy? I wouldn't be like, this palette. But I don't know, I'm glad that I have it. Next is the Huda Khaki Haze. I really do enjoy this. I've not been able to reach for it as much as I would like, which is so sad. But I've been working on a very similar khaki shade in my Pan Those Eyeshadows project, so that's kind of taken the love away from this a little bit. But even looking at this, like I wish I could give it more love. And I want to give it more love next year as well because it is beautiful. I really do enjoy it. This is like my autumn winter neutral kind of dream. I just think it's beautiful. I really do. I think it's gorgeous. Next, you know. This is my 2021 Pan That palette. This is the Soph X Revolution palette. I have dipped into it quite a lot this year as well, just to kind of keep the momentum going a little bit. I do eventually want to pan this completely. It's going to be a while before that happens though. I love it. I don't know, it's slightly on the turn, I think, and this isn't mold, this is just loose powder that's been dropped on it. But yeah, I'm making progress on this still. I do want to finish it. I think the quality is nice. It's, you know, it's a classic. When this came out, everyone was like losing their minds over it, and I think it's a great little palette. I really do. Next is my Lethal Cosmetics custom palette. I have called this the Smoke on the Water palette. This has been in my No Pan Left Behind project this month, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I didn't think I'd enjoy it this much, but I really, really am. I haven't been able to reach for it all year, which is really sad, but no, I am. I'm really, like, there are a few things that I'm like, Don't really like that. This shade, Mirage, I've had to put like little tags on the back to say the names. But yeah, this shade Mirage, not great. It's quite a firmly pressed shimmer, so you can't get much impact off of it. But yeah, the other shades are really nice. I love mixing these two shades, which are Celestial and Sigil. I love mixing those two as like an inner corner pop. Yeah, I'm happy that I'm playing around with this because this was expensive. Oh my god. Next, we've got another little ColourPop run. This is my That's Taupe palette. I've just fallen in love with taupes again this year. Like, I think this is such a beautiful little palette. This was in the running to be my Pan That palette next year, but it's just a little bit too new. I want to work on something that's a little bit older to kind of get it out of my collection. But I think this is really gorgeous. I think I could pan this, you know, get a really, really, really good start on this if I really worked on it. And I don't think I'd get too bored with it. It's got some nice cool tones. And this Pebble Beach is slightly more warm tone as well. So a little bit mix of both. This shade Slated is like a super shock, and you can see on camera how shimmery and gorgeous it is. I really enjoy this palette and I want to reach for it more. I haven't been able to reach for it too much because, again, I've had my Pan That palette to look at. That's had a lot of neutrals in it. But hopefully I'll be able to play around with this a little bit more in the next year. Next is the ColourPop Just My Look palette. This has been in some projects this year. You can tell this shade, Charmed. This was the shade that I was talking about when I was saying about my Huda Khaki Haze palette. I've been working on this. This is so firmly pressed. We all know ColourPop shades are ridiculous to try and hit pan on. But you can see I've made a very, very good dip in it. And we've also hit pan on Mary Jane. Mary Jane is the star of this show. Like, Mary Jane, it's like a shimmer chartreuse. It is gorgeous. Pop this on the inner corner, again, of any look. Neutral, blue, green, yellow, like anything. Pop this on the inner corner. So beautiful. If you have this palette, play around with Mary Jane. You will not regret it. Next, we are talking about my Nabla Cutie Platinum palette. This is what it looks like. So beautiful. Again, I've not been able to reach for it because of my Pan That palette. There's been a lot of cool tones. This is like so beautiful though. I'm just looking at this palette and just like really wanting to use it. I really do like this palette. This is so beautiful. Like, you can tell I don't really have a bad thing to say about most of my palettes. It's just there aren't enough days in the year. I want to use all of them all the time, but obviously I can't do that. It makes me really sad. Again, this shade, this like gold shade, I could do without. I don't really reach for really gold shimmers very often, but for like, I don't know, a liner or a pop on the lower lash line maybe, this Luxuriance shade is the most stunning silver I've ever seen in my life. I really need to use this more, and I know I say that so often, but I really do. Okay, next, this might be a shock. This is going to be a shock to you guys. This is my Book of Magic. This has been dethroned quite severely. This last year was like up in my top 3, I think. But this is my Book of Magic. Again, okay, let's explain. I'm going to explain. The mattes in this are gorgeous. I love the mattes. So beautiful. Like, have nothing bad to say about them. They're pigmented, they're creamy, they're blendable. Love. It's the shimmers in this that I have a little bit of an issue with. I love wearing very light shimmers on the lid, or at least like neutral kind of mid-tone shimmers. Apart from this shade here and this shade here, which I hate. I don't like this shade at all. They're all very dark shimmers, which I've kind of learned that I don't really like as much. And I found that the shimmers crease on me. I feel like there's 2 shimmer formulas in this palette. There's more of like your traditional powder shimmer, which is Alchemy, and which is Charmed, and which is Jinx. And then there's like a creamy, almost putty shimmer formula, which is Stardust, Crystal, Spell, Moonlight, and Potion. And they're the ones that really badly crease on me. And yeah, I still love the palette. I still really enjoy the palette. The mattes are gorgeous. If I put like a beautiful topper over the shimmers, love them. But I'm just realizing that as a standalone palette, there are others that I love more, which I never thought I'd say. Wow, my Book of Magic baby. Oof, right, moving on. This is my Huda Neon Orange Obsessions palette. Now, before this year, if you would have said, like, rank this would have been near the bottom. However, this was in a No Pan Left Behind project, and I just fell in love with it. This was in midsummer, which was like the perfect time to have this in my project. And I don't know, it's got, again, this like chartreusey greeny shimmer, which I love. All these tones are just very unique, I feel like. Even this yellow, it's like a slight orangey, vibrant yellow. Like, I don't know, there's not just a pink in this. There's not just a yellow in this. It's got a hint of something else, and I really enjoy it. I really do. This, I don't know, you'll see a bit of a theme in my coming palettes. The like top, I don't know what number we're on, but like top kind of 10-ish are all very cool tone blue, green palettes. But this is the kind of odd one out in this. I really enjoy this palette, and it's very different to my preferred colour stories. Next, we have the P. Louise Winter Wonderland palette. This is new in my collection this year, and again, this is just different. These aren't just blues. They're like blue with a hint of grey in it, with a hint of like something else. It's like a grey blue, and I don't see that. And these aren't just purples, they're like this periwinkle, muted. Yeah, that's the word I'd use. Like, this palette is very muted in a best way possible. I don't have colours like this in my collection. Even these blues are so unique. These periwinkles are gorgeous. This shimmer, Snow in Love, is like a blue to purple duochrome. It is insane. I absolutely adore this. I'm so glad that I bought this. This was definitely a good purchase from me this year. I know P. Louise are not cruelty free, which is annoying, but I didn't know that at the time, so yeah. Next we have the High Tide palette from Colourpop. This is in my Project 10 uses right now, and these are the shades I love. I love these shades. This is just like the perfect teal palette. I can't wait to get even more use out of this. It's got, again, the shade Luna and Flora. They're like muted grey kind of teals. And I love that. I love that kind of grungy muted grey take on a colour. And then obviously you've got your like super bright teals as well. I just think it's gorgeous. I really do. I love this palette so much. Next, this is so fun. This is such an old palette in my collection, but I don't know, I've kind of fallen in love with it this year. This is the Zulu palette from Juvia's Place. I don't reach for the bottom shades too much. Like I said, I'm not much of a pink person, but these, it's just fun. It's like a carnival, and I love it. I think it's gorgeous. I reach for this quite a lot if I want like a pop of colour. This blue and this green shimmer, gorgeous as inner corner shades for just a little something different. This teal, I kind of want to hit pan on next year. I want to throw it in a Pan Those Eyeshadows project maybe. That would be fun. Yeah, I think I could get a lot of good progress out of this palette. I think I could probably hit pan in all the shades. I may try and do that because this palette is gorgeous. Okay, we're into the top one. Oh no, we're not. I've got another pile down here. Ignore me. Next is my P. Louise All Stars palette. This is a big boy. This is more neutral than maybe you'd expect for this high up in the list. But again, I am loving neutrals recently, and it's just got a bit of everything. And it's got some gorgeous duochromes, like these two purpley duochromes. Stunning. I think this is a duochrome. It's like a green to blue. Absolutely gorgeous. The shimmer quality in this, out of this world. The mattes are very kick-uppy, but other than that, Really pigmented, really blendable. I adore this. I know someone on Instagram is having this as their pan that palette, and I think it's an amazing pan that palette choice. I know there's a lot of shades, but like I said, very kick-uppy, very easy to hit pan in, and I just love this palette. I really do. This is one of the palettes in my Pan Those Eyeshadows rotation this month, and I'm loving it. I just think it's amazing. Okay, next is full of Max hairs. Bloody hell, dog hairs get everywhere. I've not had this around Max in months. I should say I moved out like 4 months ago, and this palette is full of that little fiend's hair. This is my subculture. I love this. This doesn't look very loved, and I know, like, I was having a conversation in my comments section recently, and it's like when influencers bring out a brand new palette and go, I love this palette, it's my favorite, and you're like, really? You've used it like 5 times. But I love this palette. I can't bring myself to hit pan on any of these shades. That's how much I love it. This was a seasonal pan that palette. When I tried to do that, failed. But this was a focus palette for a few months, and I can't bring myself to hit pan on it, which is baffling because I love hitting pan on eyeshadows. I think because it's discontinued, because I love it so much, I can't bring myself to use it, and I need to get out of that headspace because that's not good. But I just can't help it. I can't help it. I love this so much. Next is a very, very similar color story. This is my SheGlam Chromosome palette. And again, I was having a conversation in my comments section. I do not support SheGlam, Shein, anything like that anymore. I know I did showcase this in a video. I can't remember what video, but it was a video sometime. And a lot of you guys commented and said, please don't support SheGlam. They're not a good company, and I completely agree with you. I completely understand. I've done my own research and I've listened to your guys' concern. I will no longer be supporting SheGlam, but that does not mean that I'm just going to be, never talking about the products that I already own, because I've already spent the money and I may as well showcase them. But okay, rant over. This is very similar to the subculture. You can see it's like a grungy, neutral yellowy green color story. I don't know, I'm just a sucker for this. I had this again in a No Pan Left Behind project and I adored it. Beautiful. Next, I actually saw Make Me Up Missa do a makeup look with this palette recently and I was so excited. This is my P. Louise Stack 'em Up palette. This is what it looks like. Greens, teals, and a periwinkle. Oh, what could go wrong? I adore this. The only shade I don't really use is this really dark teal shimmer. It's called Boss Babe. And again, I don't really use dark shimmers too much. I don't feel like it flatters me. I prefer a very light shimmer. But the mattes in this are gorgeous. I've seen someone like hit pan in all of these shades and I'm just like, oh my god. Pan envy. Next, this is quite different actually to all of these. This is the Huda Wild Jaguar palette. I remember doing a review of this when it first came out and you guys loved that review, and I don't normally do reviews, but I knew that this palette was calling my name. It was something that I was truly interested in on launch, and I'm so glad that I did pick it up. It's got, again, it's like that grey hint to a shadow. This shade here is again like that kind of grey browny mauve kind of matte, which I've been loving. I've honestly been loving. This black is a bit crap. This shimmer in the corner is a dud. But other than that, I adore it. This middle shade, stop it right now. Right, is this the top 3? Here we go. So these probably won't be surprising to you, but let's do number 3. This is my Blue Moon palette. Blue again. Oh, I love it. I love this palette so much. I've got quite a lot of good use out of this over the past year and I'm really happy with that. We hit pan in Clued In, as you can see, and as you know, Colourpop mattes are so hard to hit pan in. So the fact that we hit pan in it, amazing. It just shows you how much I love this palette. And we've got really big dips in Dabba D up here. Fine China has a bit of a dip in it. Yeah, Lumi is probably one of my favorite shades in the world. Oh, this palette makes me happy just to look at. I love this palette. I do wish that either Moonlight here or Starry Eyed here was a lighter shimmer, just because I feel like these two shades are very, very similar. And the lightest shimmer, apart from Lumi, is these two, which are more mid-tones. But that's very picky. I can always pop into like an indie brand shimmer or any other shimmer. Number 2, here we go. I'm losing my voice. Oh my god. We have the Wilderness palette. This palette, man. I could just look at this all day. I feel like these shimmers don't crease on me as much as the Book of Magic shimmers do. I don't know if they changed the formula in between these launches, but I think these are gorgeous. And I feel like the shimmers, even though they are still mid-toned, they just work better. I just think this is gorgeous. This shade, Heat, not good. Not good. If you want a red shimmer, don't use this one. But again, this was in my No Pan Left Behind project, so I really got to know this palette. I adore it. Even my profile picture on YouTube is using these 3 teal shades here. Nothing bad to say about this palette apart from that red situation. Okay, so that leaves us to number 1. You already know what number 1 is. Like, come on. It is so dirty. Oh my god. I need to clean my makeup. This was number 1 last year. I think it can't be beaten. This is my Carnival XL Pro, which is gonna wash me out so badly. But I don't care, because I love it. This is my dream. It's a color lover's dream. I can't stop looking at it. It's beautiful. It's got everything that I want, everything that I need. There's not much shimmer in this, but like, I'd rather use an indie brand shimmer anyway. If I could reach for this every day, I probably would. I was even thinking of having this as like a bit of a pan that palette kind of thing. Obviously, I wouldn't finish the whole thing. That's kind of crazy. But I don't know, having it as like a focus palette maybe. Yeah, I love this palette. I can make like any look that I want really with this. If I'm stuck for an eye look to do, I'll just pull this out and make a beautiful eye look. Yeah, I can't say anything bad about it. Like, I'm just looking at it like, oh, you're so gorgeous. Oh, so yeah, wow. I need to lie down. That was a long video. Hopefully it wasn't too long when I edit it down. But I've been filming for about 40 minutes, which is kind of crazy, and this is why I was stalling this video. But that is it for my ranking series, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I have ranked my blush, bronzer, and highlight collection as well. They would have been in the past few days if you want to check that out. If you are still here, you are a trooper. Oh my god. Wow. I salute you. But yeah, have an amazing day. Don't forget, like and subscribe, because I'm doing Vlogmas. I love Vlogmas. Oh my god. I've got so many more amazing videos coming very, very soon. So stick around for that, and I will love you and leave you. Have an amazing day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!